my life is so comfortable now that I get uncomfortable being comfortable because it's been chaos for 46 years. It's just been the last year where everything's in alignment. And I know that if something falls out of alignment, it's because it's the universe writing it for me and it's not for me. And I just surrender and let it go and know that the next thing that's coming for me will be greater.
On my $1,000,000 hustle.
The $1,000,000 Hustle Podcast, where we keep it real, I stated entrepreneurship wisdom. Learn to think like a millionaire and hustle like you're broke. Here's your host, Billy the Kid, aka Billionaire.
Think like a millionaire and hustle like you broke. This free game to change your life, you better so. Think like a millionaire and hustle like you broke.
Welcome to the $1,000,000 Hustle Podcast, baby. It is your boy Billy the Kid, aka BDK, aka Billionaire in this mug. Guys, you know how I say like I'll run through the drywall? This is how I feel right now. I'm telling you, Kelly Siegel, such an amazing human being, man, and it's so crazy. You could just feel it in the air with this podcast, guys. I'm so excited for you guys to listen to. He has so much wisdom, guys, and harder than life. Like, that's why I said I want to run through the drywall after talking to him, because he's one of those that it's like, hey, which I'm a total believer in this too. It's like, okay, here's the cards you were dealt with, right? So deal with them and let's move on. Let's make something happen out of that. Let's have a great life. And that's what this man did, man, with his and all the coaching and all the stuff that he's doing. So Kelly Siegel, again, brother, thank you so much for joining. This was such an amazing episode, and I can't wait for you guys to listen in. Before we jump into this awesome episode, I just wanted to remind you guys to grab a copy of my book, The Power of Being Uncomfortable, out now everywhere. And then also, by the time this podcast is out, guys, so today is $1,000,000 Monday. So every 2 weeks, every other Monday, you already know we are dropping an episode. And as of right now, we should have Gucci Chanclas out featuring my boy Cap G. And if you haven't, go check out the interview I did with him in the studio. Shout out to Cap G, man, just killing the game. Such a great dude. Again, the song is out, and then the podcast is out by now. So, and if you're following if you're not following the podcast, please go ahead and follow us on Spotify, Apple, wherever podcasts are available, and subscribe to my YouTube. That's probably the shortest way, so that way you could get my music, the podcast, and everything else. But I'm just excited, man. As of right now, we are building our home, so that's super exciting. And so far so good. You just have to keep your faith, and everything will work out and better than you thought. And it's something that we talked about today. It's such a powerful message because I truly live my life by that. So we got that going. Next week, we are buying a building. And again, this is, by the time this airs, this should already pass. We'll see where we're at then. But we're super excited. Just all the amazing things that God provides for us. And we're just full of gratitude. And on top of that, everything, guys, anything that happens negative, you just have to know that it's part of the process, and you just have to learn out of that. Like, what can you learn out of that negative thing? We're human. We're going through things. It's all good. Just feel them, but then also, what are you going to do to move on from them? And I think that is it, guys. Also, those of you who are looking for any lending, any private lending for your next real estate deal, please DM me, hit me up, text me if you got my number. That way we can figure out how we can help achieve your real estate goals. So anything real estate related for lending, let us know. The construction company, New Era Construction LLC.net for your needs. And as of right now, also, we got a couple flips that were coming out, that we're flipping back out. So we're going to be needing the next deal. So if you have any real estate deals, please let us know. Also, coaching, guys. If you're interested in joining the mastermind, the Get Uncomfortable Mastermind, please hit up info@billythekid.com. I mean, we're meeting with amazing people like Kelly today. He's sometime here soon. He's gonna jump on the mastermind as well to drop some bombs for the members. So just get around great people, and that's what this is all about. We actually just had a whole weekend where shout out to VCG, man. He actually flew from Chicago for the dinner that we set out for the mastermind. We ended up meeting in person, and after the dinner, man, we ended up going bowling. We had a couple cigars. It was just an amazing weekend, and he actually ended up staying. He was supposed to leave the next day, but he actually ended up staying one more night just because he was feeling the vibes, the energies, and that's the people you want to be surrounded with. So if you're interested in just leveling up, and if you're just tired of it and you just want to get to that next level in your life, again, guys, success. The journey is a lonely road, and you don't have to travel it alone. You could be surrounded by great people like the members of our mastermind, the Get Uncomfortable Mastermind. info@billythekid.com if you're interested in joining. But enough of that, man. I am so ready, guys. I'm just ready to dive into this amazing interview. Man, like I'm telling you, like if you're tired today or any of those negative words that I don't like using or lazy or whatever, I got something for that ass. And with that being said, here is Kelly Siegel. Vamonostra. Welcome to the $1 Million Hustle Podcast, baby. It is your boy Billy the Kid, aka BDK, aka Billionaire in this mug. I am super excited. It's so crazy. We just before I started recording, guys, we were already chopping up some game, and I already know this thing. I literally just got chills because I already know this thing is gonna go down today. And again, remember, the $1 Million Hustle is about what is the person that you need to become in order for you to get to that point in life. So today he's gonna have some great tips for you on how you can get there. So Kelly Siegel, how are you doing, brother?
BK in the house. What's up, baby?
Go. We were just talking about some hip hop stuff, so you're definitely a hip hop head, huh?
Well, I grew up off of 8 Mile in Detroit, so that's like my jam, dude. We I actually went to high school for 1 year with Eminem. So he's his baby mama, Kim, that he's always yelling about. She grew up 2 streets from me her entire life. So I know Kim and her sister Dawn really well, Kim Mathers. Really well. So the hip hop game is big to us. And last time Dr. Dre was in town cutting a record with I ran into him at the gym, and we chatted and talked for a while. He's really nice, really approachable. We grew up on the streets, and the only thing that you had was music. You had music and your brothers. So unfortunately, most of my friends kind of stayed in the hood. A lot of them died. A lot of them are in jail. I got out, man. And you know what? It was dumb luck because I just wasn't ready to go to work when we graduated from high school. And I wanted to go party more. So I just went to college, and there was some divine being looking out for me because there were so many times that I got in death-defying situations being in the hood. And it was always some kind of Snoop Dogg or something bumping in the background. And whenever I was sad, I'd play some kind of hardcore gangster music and feel like and channel my inner gangster and hey, be harder than life. That's what I did.
Let's go. And it's so crazy because that's why I fell in love with hip hop, Kelly. And I'm originally from El Salvador, so I don't even have to tell you the kind of poverty that I went through. But the crazy thing, bro, is that I remember when I first listened to hip hop, to rap, I might have not understood exactly what the rappers were screaming about, but that pain was carried into me, right? Like I felt that. I'm like, man, like I know I have that pain too, right? Like, and then obviously, of course, you fast forward and I became a hip hop head, and especially Eminem. You were just talking about him. I mean, I want to say, and I've said it a couple times, but I want to say he's my GOAT, man. I feel like he's one of the best rappers out there. Again, me growing up in the very late 90s. I don't even like to claim 90s, but early 2000s for sure. That was my jam for hip hop. So
I'm gonna blow your mind for a second. I just thought about it. This just popped in my head. My first 2, we used cassette tapes. So we didn't have anything else. We used cassette tapes. We used to dub them, putting freaking jam boxes together.
Yeah.
My first 2 hip hop cassettes were Run DMC and Beastie Boys.
What a mix. That's awesome. That's awesome. It's so funny. Even cassettes, I remember just off the radio, just like recording whatever song you wanted to.
But you know what music does to you, it just brings you back to that time. It wasn't the greatest time. I grew up so poor and so broke. My parents were alcoholics and they were never around. But I think of those songs and I think of good times, because those were when you were out playing in the streets with your boys and doing thugs things. But that was camaraderie, and that was the love that you got. Because you didn't get it at home. The parents weren't around, and when they were around, they were abusive, and you didn't want to be around that. So you could have your camaraderie and like, man, our parents are against us, and it was you against the world. And here I am, 30 years later or 35 years later, successful, living a dream. But man, that music comes on, and you immediately go back to your boys, literally boys in the hood.
Yeah, so true. And off air, you were mentioning, Kelly, you brought up like Ice-T and just NWA and all that. You mentioned something so important that I think it could be carried on in anything, in any business, and especially, people like us that put ourselves out there, right? And you said they were authentic. Can you talk a little bit about that? How important is that? Because I feel like you're literally nobody if you're not authentic.
Well, and I hate to keep plugging my book, but I wrote this book, Harder Than Life. The very first chapter is self-awareness, and then the second one is honesty, integrity. I have a general rule of thumb that says if someone can't be honest with themselves, they aren't going to be honest with you. And I need to know that, when we were growing up, if your boy, you were counting on your boys to live or die. Because sometimes I've been in street fights, bar fights, that if your boy didn't have your back, you were getting blindsided. I mean, and we were right at the tail end where people started pulling guns and people were getting shot, and you had to trust your. So, and then you fast forward to nobody getting shot anymore, but authenticity and being genuine in who you are. And I like to take it a step further. If you can be authentically yourself, then you are comfortable being vulnerable. And what does that build? Resiliency. It makes you tough as nails. Or wait, let's use hip hop. Tougher than leather.
Yeah.
So, and it builds even more of a relationship. It builds trust and makes that relationship go to the next level. So genuine authenticity and it isn't. Let's talk about what it isn't. Authenticity isn't saying your insecurity to somebody else and quote unquote keeping it real. That's just you projecting your insecurity on somebody. So me saying, yo, man, why is your head so big? And I'm just keeping it real. No, man, that ain't cool. Don't say whatever the hell's on your mind, because if you're saying it to hurt somebody's feelings, you're an asshole. So being genuine, being authentic, saying, man, I'm triggered when you drop all that knowledge on me with that big brain of yours.
Oh my God, listen to that. That right there is two different sides. And, it's so crazy because growing up the way we did, I'm sure you can relate to this too, that we had to choose. Now that we're at a whole other level in our life, thank God, we have to choose who we surround ourselves with. And there's a lot of people in the past that's all they did. Like, it's funny on my book, like one of the first chapters is if they shit, they will laugh at you. And I talk about some friends making fun of me when I started rapping, and so I think it's very important, guys. Those of you who are listening, watch who you surround yourself with, because just like Kelly just said, like, you guys heard the difference between, oh man, you got a big old head versus, man, you got a big old head with a lot of knowledge. Like, and the thing is, your language becomes you too. So think about that. It's very crucial to watch how you talk to others, because it's just a reflection of how you feel inside. So I love that, man. And Billy, if you have any, take
it a step further. You talk about 3% of the action takers and 97% of the people won't do this. I usually think it's even tougher than that. I think there's only 1% of the people that do the work. And the difference between the people, the 1%ers and the no percenters, is they say no a lot. It's no, I will not be a part of that. That is not moving me forward. No, that is not something that is in alignment with me. I say no more. If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. And that goes to friendships. That goes to anything that is not moving the needle forward. And it's the hardest thing in the world, because I had boys that if I wouldn't be here today without some of my boys. But when I went to college, I had to break it off with them, because every time they were around, we were getting into fights. And I'm in college. I can't have people getting into fights. And I had to cut it off. And that hurt, because, man, they got me there. But so the two things we're only a few minutes into this. We said, be genuine and authentic who you are, tell the truth, and say no a lot. We just, boom, game, set, match. We could be done right now. But we're going to keep going, so and there's more to it.
Man, that's so true, Kelly. And so we have book of the week and Harder Than Life. I'm going to go ahead and put it on my Amazon store, guys. So those of you who follow me, make sure you go to the shop, and I'm going to throw it in there. Make sure you support Kelly. I would love to hear what's your definition of that. What does Harder Than Life mean? I know you brought it up a little bit, but what does it mean to you?
Harder Than Life is overcoming everything that the universe is going to throw at you to try to keep you down. It is, and then to me, my next book should be called Easier Than Life, because as soon as you get the daily habits and rituals to succeed, and being able to say no, and being authentic with yourself, and keeping the promises to yourself, it becomes so easy that you're immediately harder than life, and you become a part of your 3% action takers. So it is just doing the quote unquote, and I hate saying this because it's no longer hard for me. I wrote this book during the pandemic. I'm not the same dude I was when I wrote this book, but there are stories in here that will blow your mind. So if you think why not you? Read the book, and it'll say, I am a poor kid from South Warren in Michigan that grew up with Eminem with nothing. And I now have 2 homes, 2 boats, 2 of everything. I can do whatever I want, whenever I want. And there was nobody going to stop me. And I didn't get any breaks in life. I actually made it harder on myself. I decided to follow in the footsteps of my parents and become a drinker. And it wasn't until I quit the naughty water that I started experiencing massive success. So if you're fighting against yourself, if you're making it harder than life, that I implore you to look at your association with alcohol and drugs. And everyone's like, oh, I don't have a problem. If I say, do you have an issue with alcohol and drugs, and you immediately say no, you might want to look into that. And if it triggers you, remember, trigger is like the portal to what you need to work on. That is your subconscious talking to you. Here's your wound, your inner child wound that needs to be worked on. If something really, really bothers you, that's you, man. That's a you issue. It ain't nothing to do with freaking Billy the Kid. Billy the Kid's great. He's in there with a big smile. What do you not like about him? But if I'm sitting here triggered by you, that's me. A proverbial 1 finger pointing away, 3 are pointing right back at you. So I can do it. Anybody can. And then once you really start doing this, how good can you handle life? Because if you don't drink and you don't do drugs and you sit in your shit and you meditate and you move your body and you journal and you read, and these aren't major things, you will explode and you will be harder than life. I guarantee it.
Wow. I'm ready to run through the drywall right now, Kelly. Let's go.
You're a big boy. You'll put a big dent in that drywall.
There you go. You mentioned triggers you, and it's so funny because one of the reasons that I started following you was your social media. Like you have no filter. You say how it is, and I feel like that triggers people, right? And like you said, if it's triggering them, I post a lot of stuff too, man, and especially people that maybe don't have as much ambition, and you talk about ambition and it triggers them, then it's like, well, I'm just but then I think the present behind that, Kelly, is that imagine how many people have done something about it. Once that trigger hits you, it's like, okay, what are you going to do about it? And that's what I'm hoping to do with my social media and all the stuff that I post. And you had one of the stuff that you mentioned on your social media that which kind of I want to ask it to you now because it goes with triggering and all that. You said success is earned, not deserved. Can you talk a little bit about that? Yo, we'll be right back to this great episode of the $1 Million Hustle Podcast. Before we continue, I want you to go grab a copy of my book, The Power of Being Uncomfortable. It is out on Amazon. It is out on Barnes & Noble, Walmart.com, Target.com, and everywhere else books are available. The great news, guys, is you could go to BillyTheKid.com and grab an autographed copy. That is right. I'm going to mail you an autographed copy right now. Audiobook is also available on Audible and everywhere else audiobooks are available. So go listen to it. Go grab yourself an autographed copy. And I'll see you on the other side, baby. And now back to this great episode of the $1 Million Hustle Podcast.
Yeah, I will. And I'm going to be a little bit more authentic than I've ever been on any podcast so far. I will tell you, I say to myself, it's none of my business what anybody thinks about me, but it does hurt when people take shots at me. And when you put yourself out there, that's going to happen. There's one way to not get criticized is not do anything, not say anything, and not stand for anything. So, I literally am talking to the old me most of the time. I also have people that I love dearly that I talk to them. And when I get brutalized and it hurts, man. It does. I'm human. And for some reason, Instagram only shows me the negative comments. So I got to click into the comments and see it's about 200 to 1. There's 200 really nice, good comments saying, dude, awesome story. And then one or two that are just like, oh, you just take steroids and you don't know what you're talking about. And the best one I love is I'm 47 and I talk about it because I have a 6-pack of abs and it's very rare. And then everybody calls me I'm 57. I go, well, you just made my point even better. If I look 57 and I got a 6-pack, I'm doing something to win because that consistency and discipline is what I'm talking about. Earning. There's nothing in this world that says you deserve it. We all have the equal opportunity. It says right in the Declaration of Independence, you have the right to pursue freedom and happiness, whatever the thing is. Pursue. It's the right to pursue. You don't have the right to. We've all got equal rights to pursue it. So go after it. And that's where I love your line. It says that don't even hit play on your podcast if you're 97% ain't going to do anything, because you're just going to lick back and think that you deserve it. And then you're going to play the victim. If you think you deserve something in this world, you're prey and not the predator. And I'm going to eat you alive. Do I want to? No. Because we can both win together. And that's the world that I want to live in. I want to take this 90 or this 3% and make it 30%. There's no, it makes me crazy. And I like that you're 3%. Everything I read is only 1% of the people that are really winning and really taking action. And remember, it doesn't happen right away. The night is darkest just before dawn. So you got to freaking work your tookus off for a long time. And then God or the universe or source or whatever the heck that you call that higher power, because we're all an energy vibration, is going to throw you a curveball and say, do you really want it? Because that's what it did to me. And I wrote about it in the book. I decided I was going to quit drinking. Life got better. And I started feeling all the emotions. About a year and a half into it, I'm thinking, woo, everything's great. Then my ex-wife and my ex-girlfriend decided hurt people, so they're going to come after me and try to take my kid away. The pandemic hit. My biggest customer at my IT company left. And I'm like, what is going on? And it was God saying, bro, you've come this far. Now it's time to level up again. That is when I would bet 50% of the 1%ers or 3%ers then pack it in and go, oh, I tried. I can't do it. God has given you the test and the ability to grow yourself to be able to go for the next challenge. And I'll tell you what, that happened 3 years ago. And guess what? It all just happened again. And it was a blip in the radar screen. We lost our biggest customer. I had a team meeting and the team meeting went, oh, we've been here before. We did this during the pandemic. You don't even have to have it. We built it back stronger, better. And what do you know? Nobody. Our internal fortitude, our intestinal fortitude, and our muscle that we built going through that shitstorm was so strong this time. This one was, it was a blip in the radar screen, and we've already freaking replaced that revenue. And I got to tell you, it's just life is a series of learning lessons. And if you plow straight through it, if you are the buffalo and you go straight through that storm, you will get through it faster, and you will learn life lessons that will come back to serve you. So nothing is deserved. Everything is earned. You got to do the work, and you got to be harder than life. And I didn't say anything that anybody can't do. You know, work out, read, journal, say no, be kind, meditate, just things that just are simple and easy. You can't go to the gym? Go outside, go for a walk. There's no reason to be sedative or to be a prey.
And that's so powerful right there. One of the main things that I preach on my mastermind, Kelly, is I'm usually like, hey, look, there's a personal goal and a business goal for the month, right? And actually, we're meeting later today for the first time in September, so that's what the meeting will be about. But I bring that up because at the end of the month, you know, one of the times I always remind them, it's like, if you did not meet your business goal, okay, fine, right? But your personal goal, if your personal goal was, I'm going to drink water, no juice for the month, why would you fail at that? Right?
Well,
why would you fail?
Hold on. I'm going to interrupt you right away. First of all, I don't prescribe to setting goals like that. I set ridiculously high, big, hairy, audacious goals, BHAG goals, because they need to scare the crap out of you. This is my opinion. They got to scare you, because you just probably are going to hit it. And if you set these easily attainable ones, oh, I'm going to drink some water, and then you're not building anything. You're not building that intestinal fortitude. If they're easily attainable, I just showed up and got these. So do this. You know, I'm going to drink water, but I'm going to work out 5 times a week. There you, and what happens is, if you miss it, you still attained, you worked out 3 times a week. See how the 3 times a week was more than just drinking the water? You went further, and you pushed yourself further. And that's where the magic happens. That's where the 1%ers become 3%ers. So push it a little bit harder. My goals, there's nobody in this world harder on me than me. I want to give away $1 million a year. I want to give it away to charity.
I
don't make $1 million. I don't make $1 million, but I'm going to give it away. And that will happen over many, many, many years. And I've got a plan to do it. I got a 10-year plan, I got a 3-year plan, and I got a 1-year plan, and I break it down in 90 days. So we're gonna nail it. So if you're just, listen, I appreciate the setting goals, and I'm not here to rain on anybody's parade. Thank you for setting goals. Set them higher. Expect more out of yourself. The body's amazing. God is amazing. The universe is amazing. We're here to do amazing things. Expect it out of it, and it will happen.
Man, I feel like you're the definition of one of my favorite quotes, which, guys, we're in the greatest nation on earth. And if you're not doing something with it, I think that's where that saying comes, right? Like, get the hell out, because we're the greatest nation on earth for a reason, because of the action takers that have came out of here. And you remind me of that quote, Kelly, the hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. Can you talk, because I with the mindset that you have, brother, I would love to hear what's your perspective on everything that's going on, and you know, just what do we need to do to make sure that we stay on top?
I want to ask you a question. How long have you been here? When did you come from El Salvador?
So I was 10 years old. So 25. Oh yeah.
So when I want your listeners to understand, and the Harder Than Life listeners will tune into this as well, to understand that you're speaking from experience. And I tell you what, I just posted something on Instagram. I posted a book I read from this lady from North Korea. And all I said about the book was, this lady put a quote in that said, if America is so bad, why are so many people applying for citizenship? And that's all I said. and I got shadow banned. And so I'm going to kind of dance a fine line on that question, in that I'm very compassionate, because it's not easy right now, but it is easy. If you show up, if you are consistent, and you just are disciplined, and you do it every day, you have to believe in invisible progress. Water wears out a rock over time, and you keep going. Eventually it'll break. Now, right now, there's so many people, and I'm not gonna, that this freaking limitation, the 6 inches between our ears, is a limiting belief, and it tells you magical lies, and you have to be stronger than your mind and your feelings and your thoughts. So if you just go back in and say, why not me? And how good can you handle life? And follow the principles that are in the Heart of the Life book, you will win. I think some people struggle for validation. And what happens is social media creates this world that's not true. And they look at, and you don't see people posting on their bad things. That's why if you watch my story and even some of my reels, I post on the negative things, because not every day is rainbows and unicorns, man. I have felt run down all week, but yet I'm here on your podcast bringing it, because that's what I do. I get to do this. I don't have to do this. I have worked my butt off to make a name for myself, to be able to talk to amazing men like you, because I want to go make that $1 million to donate to charity and make a difference, so that when I'm long since passed in this world, people will be like, remember that crazy Kelly Siegel guy? So I have empathy for people that are scared, and they should be. There's some weird things going on in this world. I don't understand. I'm not a Democrat or a Republican, and I don't understand where we've lost the fact that we have to work together. That was, and you weren't here in kindergarten, but that's what you learned in kindergarten. We need both, and this is funny. The airplane needs both wings to fly, but yet when we talk about the left wing or the right wing, and the fact that they're not even communicating together, I got a simplest solution: integrate the House. So when you're so you have the House of Representatives has people sitting at Congress, has the Republicans sitting on one side and the Democrats sitting on the other. What? When we were in freaking kindergarten, they made you sit with people you didn't know. Of course you're going to keep freaking, it's the same thing with the algorithm. You're going to keep having the same stinking thinking, because you're surrounded by people who think the same way you are. One of the weirdest things I do is I talk to everybody. I read the opposite side. I read differentiating opinions. I read women's books. I read Asian books. I read freaking alien books. I want to know what everybody thinks, or else I'll keep thinking the same thing. So expand your horizon. Wow. If you watch CNN, flip over to Fox. If you watch Fox, flip over to CNN. And then dig. What's great about this world is we can dig in and try to discern the truth. And also the discernment's such a big word. You have to discern what's true in your mind and what's not. And just because I said thoughts are magical lies, just because you think it's true doesn't mean it is. And more than likely, it's not. And what's in your head is what your ego is meant to keep you survival when you were young. So, hey, when you were in El Salvador running from violence, you don't have that in Nebraska anymore. So why in the heck would you use that? But that's how we operate now.
Wow. And it's so true. I would love to add that at the end, guys, it almost seems like the flag became right or left, right? Like whatever the hell you guys follow. But that's our flag. Like we're in the same team is what we're trying to tell you. We're in the same team. So I love that, Kelly, and our symbol is the flag.
United we stand, divided we fall. And that's what's happening around. And I don't prescribe to any of these conspiracy theories. I don't believe anybody, even George Soros, any of these people are sitting back going, let's get them divided. This is just a byproduct of the way that technology is happening. The algorithm in social media is meant to keep you on. You're the product. So it's meant to keep you on. So it's going to keep showing you things that you deem important. If it starts showing you a bunch of things you don't like, you're going to shut the app off. That's how they make money. So I don't think that there's anybody. I don't think the Republicans are sitting here going, "We're the smartest in the world," and I don't think the Democrats are doing that. I just think that they are trying their best. But we got the impossible or the immovable object against we're hitting might against might, and we really just got to work together.
Love it. And I would love to ask you, Kelly, you're big on just the dirty water, right? Like the dirty juice. What can you share with us some stories? I think to kind of make a full circle from earlier about being authentic, people fail to realize that those stories that you might be keeping to yourself and you don't want people to know about and all that crap, like those are the stories you need to tell so that way somebody can hear the experience and hopefully help that person. And I think people fail to do that. So I love that you're very transparent with everything that you talk about. What can you walk us through? Why did you leave the dirty water, right? And kind of where you're at now with it?
Well, you talk about authentic. I'm going to read just two sentences of this chapter 1 of my book, Self-Awareness. My first job was dumping out my stepdad's piss jar every day. He was addicted to alcohol and pills, and so was my mom. Their relationship was volatile, which often led to confrontations and violent fights. When I was 8 years old, he started locking himself in his bedroom to keep away from her. He wouldn't even come out to go to the bathroom and relieve himself in a jar instead. It was my responsibility to empty that jar every day. The first job came with shitty pay, $0, and a beating if I forgot. Sometimes when my stepdad was feeling especially petty and cruel, he dumped the jar over my bed if he deemed I didn't take care of it quickly and enough. I wrote that and I was embarrassed. It's a piss jar. It's disgusting. And I forgive it. You know what, though? I go on to talk about how I reframed that to what I learned to this day, all the way through to my national technology management, my national IT company that I own, is I learned to do the job right the first time. Because if you don't do it right the first time and you're too busy to do it a second time, when are you going to find the time to do it right? So as sick and twisted as it was to empty a pee jar, I did it right because I didn't want it emptied on my freaking bed, because if I did that, then it created more work for me. Besides, it was disgusting. So that's the authenticity. That's embarrassing. But once you really do the work and love yourself, you know that that's helping somebody. So if somebody wants to say that they're disgusting and that's triggered, let's have that conversation. Let's you and I talk, and let's create a safe landing zone. That what's going on in your life, because that probably just triggered something in you. So yes, what made me give up the naughty water was the second question. Naughty water, just so everybody knows, alcohol. It's in the book, but I talk about it. Love made me quit alcohol. I kept meeting toxic women, and I just had somebody, a NLP specialist on the Heart of the Life podcast, which we have a podcast, we have a book, we do personal development speaking, keynotes, inspirational speaking, and whatnot. So she talked about the correlation between alcohol and toxic relationships, and I kept meeting emotionally unavailable women. Growing up without any love from my mother or my stepfather, I crave love. We all want to be loved. We crave love and affection and companionship and relationship. It's just human nature. So I'm a relatively good-looking guy. I'm very gregarious. I do some big things in this world, and I want to share it with a life partner.
You're a stud, brother. You're a stud, man.
Thank you. I received that. That can elevate our life and help do our $1 million charity giveaway. So what I just noticed that the correlation was that every time I would get into a bickerment with my then girlfriend, alcohol was involved. So I just literally said, forget it. It's not working. Remember me saying earlier, say no to things that aren't serving you? I said, I'm done. I was in Key West, Florida. I said, I'm done with this. I'm taking a 90-day break. And then after 90 days, I took another 90 days. After day 181, I went, I'm done with this. I took a weird path. I just quit cold turkey, didn't go to AA, didn't go to rehab, just quit. And I loved it. So I'm 40, a little over 4.5 years later. And boy, if you decide to quit drinking, even if you deem you don't have a problem, but you're drinking regularly. What I mean regularly is I get together with the boys and once a week we have a couple pops. Eliminate that out of your life and watch what happens. Because even if you just have 2 drinks a week, it affects you. Now, I'm in the best shape of my life physically. I'm in the best shape of my life mentally, and nothing stops me. I don't get sick anymore. I don't meet emotionally unavailable women. And just good things happen. I have more money than I know what to do with because I'm not spending it on booze. Turns out half of my money I would spend on alcohol related activities. That doesn't mean in drinking. That means flying to Vegas, flying to Thailand, flying to somewhere and having a party. And I used to freaking boat all the time, and there was liquor on the boat, and it just a lot of near misses, and it just life got better. And let's not mince words. If you're taking a substance to alter your state of mind, you're escaping reality and you're running from something, and that is not being a buffalo. That is not running into the storm and sitting in your shit. And I got a newsflash for you. The time it takes for you to take a pill, for you to drink, I've worked so hard on myself, and I can teach these practices where I can have you out of that stinking thinking faster than having a drink of alcohol or taking a pill or smoking weed can even take effect on your body. I can stop it right in its tracks, and it's easily teachable. And it's just literally that inner child work that can be done in seconds. And then you can use all of that energy that you would use in the partying for good.
Wow. And you talk about that inner child. Can you dig a little bit deeper? Because I feel like that's the key is once there's so many components there. One of the ones I would like to mention is, always kind of going back and making that kid proud in a way, right? Like what are some of the stuff that you do with that inner child, and somebody that's listening that probably didn't even know that was a thing?
Yeah. Everybody. So most of your beliefs come from that childhood survival. So I've done all kinds of modality work with therapy. I've done talk therapy, EMDR therapy, what is that? I forget what it's called, hypnotherapy. And it was all geared to heal that childhood trauma. So what you're trying to do is you're basically trying to take your 47-year-old self and you're trying to blend them with the childhood trauma moments. So I had a pretty traumatic experience at 8 and 9 where my mother came home drunk and almost killed me. I had another one where my stepfather tried to drown me and almost killed me. So those are traumatic moments that I can get triggered. To this day, I still get triggered a little bit about food. There was never food in the house. So whenever I get hungry, I start thinking I'm going to die, which I know is not true. I mean, I can walk into any restaurant, I could open DoorDash, have it sent to me. I keep all kinds of food in my house. I'm not poor. We're good. So those are magical lies. And what you need to do is you need to talk to that inner child and let them know that everything's okay. And that big 47-year-old Kelly has got that 8 or 9-year-old. And hey, nobody's ever going to beat on me. That's why I'm a big guy. Because my stepfather was a big dude and my mother was a big woman and would beat the hell out of me. So, and then here's the best part. It happened for me and I forgive them, because if I don't, and I'm the victim, I'm giving them all the power and I can't move forward. And I'm going to newsflash for you. The reason why you notice my videos is because I'm a big guy, and that's what's nice about it. So look at that. I went out and I worked out and I became big, and now I'm becoming larger than life in the social media world and the personal development world. And what do you know? That little freaking coping mechanism to not let my mother and my stepfather beat on me now is my portal to happiness, is my portal to help everybody else. And yours is too. And if I can talk to anybody and I can unpack that with them, that's not done overnight. I've done that very aggressively over the last 4.5 years. And I like to think that I'm pretty close to being healed. And when I say healed, it just means that I don't react, I respond. Am I triggered? Absolutely. But am I done with that trigger in about 60 seconds? Yep. So there's some people that say you're never going to be healed because you're going to be triggered. That's malarkey to me. I believe that as long as it's not governing your life, you're healed. If you're not doing stupid things over and over and over again, pretty healed.
Yeah.
And you know what? I tell you what, I'm in such an alignment with the universe that even if I try to do stupid things, God stops me. I'll try to do something. I'll go to a thing and then I won't. I'm going to go to that party and then I won't get invited. I'll be like, and I start laughing. I go, there you go. You're protecting me. And that's just because I'm here for a reason. I'm here to help people. I'm going to inspire, model, and motivate.
Or all the times that things don't work out and you might, get mad because it's that next level you're trying to reach, and then all of a sudden it works out even better. God is watching. I love that. I wanted to ask you this question, Kelly, based on what you just shared with me, because it sounds like you're definitely a man of faith. I'm a man of faith, and you hear honor your parents, honor your mother, honor your father, right? And I'm gonna tell you what, I never met my dad, so I'm always questioning how can I honor that, right? Ooh, and then also my mother, the same thing. She tried, but her education wasn't the best. And I know one thing, we didn't starve, right? Like, she did her best. And you keep mentioning your parents, so I relate to that because and especially on the father's side with me, like I said, I never met him. And then the one time I spoke to him over the phone when I turned 18, he asked me to send him something back home. And I'm like, whoa, like, what the hell, right? Like, that's where I knew. I'm like, okay, I'm done. Now, so the question is, how can someone honor the parents, right? Like the Bible says, and with a man like you that had such horrible experiences. So what's your answer to that, man? I would love to hear that.
We'll be right back. Before we continue, go subscribe to Billy the Kid YouTube. That is Billy, DHAKID. Also, go follow Billy the Kid Music on Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music, and everywhere else music is available. And now, back to this great episode. Let's go.
Hopping out the tube, though, we're number 2, foe. Feel like Kobe, though I'm winning, need to do more. My mama sorry, college wasn't for me. Street smart, no degree, just like Kobe. Self-made boss with a suit like a mogul. I'm the new era, you see it on my logo.
Billy. That's a great question, and I have an answer for you. And I want everybody to listen to this. And it was one of the hardest lessons that I learned. I learned it from an emotional, they call it an EQ coach, emotional intelligence coach, that I hired right after the pandemic, because I was sober and my emotions were everywhere and I couldn't figure it out. And I was specifically talking about my ex-wife and my ex-girlfriend getting together and coming after my daughter, she's my why. I have a 14-year-old daughter who is my why. She's why I exist. The cycle, you hear Ed Milet talk about it. There's one in every family that breaks the chains of poverty and breaks the cycle of abuse. That's me. And my daughter gets to be the first healthy one that comes out of this family. And she is. So what this emotional coach said to me, and at the time I lost it when she said it, she said, assume positive intent. And I said, wow, how do you assume positive intent? These two women are trying to take my kid away, trying to ruin me, and trying to get me to go drink again. And she said, get out of your mind, put yourself in their mind. And what are they trying to do? All they're trying to do is protect their way of life, hurt people. And it just changed the entire perspective on everything. And I could then shift myself and realized it wasn't personal. I was making it personal. It was them trying to just protect their life. And that's their way of life is chaos. And mine was calm. And I was killing off the person that those two loved, which was that chaotic party animal guy. And they wanted me to be that guy. So that was their positive intent. Bring, quote unquote, Kelly back to us. And that's all they knew. Once I took away that power, I smoked them. We went to court and it just was nasty, and I won every single thing. So, and then I used that with my parents. So let's go to the parent and absolutely spend all the time with the parents, because this is the thing is, if you're going to give all the negatives to your parents, mom didn't love me, mom beat me, mom and dad didn't put any food on the table, they didn't, but hey, you got to give them the positive thing too. They made me a tough, gritty son of a gun, a person that absolutely is unafraid, because I have walked through hell. They put me through hell. Now you can't even put me through hell. This is a cakewalk. Daily life now is so easy. It's painful, because growing up and maneuvering, think of that little 10-year-old boy that was alone, and you'd hear the key hit the door, and you weren't sure which drunk dad or which drunk stepdad are you getting. You're getting the happy one who wants you to get him beers and play your records, or you're getting the mean one that's going to beat on you. So you're like, uh-oh. And then I kind of did the same thing. I would sit in my room and hide and hope he would come and go right to bed. And that would be crisis averted. 10 years old, 265 pounds, 6'2" man walking in drunk. There's a 50-50 chance you're getting your ass kicked. That's scary. So, hey, man, they did keep a roof over my head. They did provide some sort of grit, and so I give them the positives. So I will tell you what I think you're asking me is, you could pick your nose, but you can't pick your family, and you got to have a relationship with your family. I say no. And I'm telling you, I haven't talked to them in 22 years. I will see them at their funeral. Now, that I wrestled with a lot. Was I going to go to the funeral? Was I not? Yes, I will. That's my closure, and I'm completely comfortable. I don't prescribe in that you have to allow your family to treat you like shit. If you go into any situation, even if it's your boss, and they treat you lower than your standards, bye, Felicia. You're out. And that is loving yourself enough to have standards and boundaries that when they are crossed, it is you gotta go. And I am unapologetic as fuck about it. Sorry to swear, but that is so important. And it's the hardest thing. It's the last piece that came for me. It's through all of my personal development work and all of the therapy, that was the one that the moment, and it's almost now I'm too quick to get rid of people. It's like, no soup for you. It's just go. So I slow it down, and I just watch. It's really easy. Just watch what people do, and you'll know. My parents, they're just not good people. They don't offer anything to anybody in this world, and they're going to die alone, and it's really sad. They don't go out. They don't have friends. They're just not good people. So I don't need them in my life. From my book, I talk about my mom. I never say their names. My mom I heard she was going to sue me. And my sister said to her, she's like, he owns a multi-million-dollar IT company, and he's got lawyers on top of lawyers. Don't you think that they looked at this? And I start laughing. And then in the next delusional question, she says, you think he'd let me see my granddaughter? And she's like, I'll answer that. No. My daughter, I have been very open and vocal because I want her to use the routines and habits and coping mechanisms that I use to be able to live an amazing life and not have to deal with what I had to deal with. So she knows what my mom did. And she said, I don't even want to meet her dad. Never once have they tried to reach out to her. She's 14 years old. Never once. When I got married, and I'm since divorced, my then wife, now ex-wife, said to my best friend, she's like, I'm really upset that Kelly doesn't want to invite his parents. And he said, I lived with him for 8 years. 8 years. He goes, you know how many times his parents called him? And she goes, how many? He goes, 0. So if he doesn't want him there, let him. So everybody's situation is different. The only thing that I will tell you is forget what people say. Just because they're your parents does not mean that they need to be in your life. But assume positive intent. They did the best that they could, and the best they could is all this. Now it's your job to take it from here going forward. Do not drink the poison and expect them to die. It doesn't work. Get that damn chip off your shoulder and go live your life, because you're only hurting you. So that's in the past. Do the work and go live your face your fears, live your dreams.
Wow. Woo, man. We could. The funny thing is that every time you talk, Kelly, we could have ended the podcast at the very beginning. Like, I love it, man. And
I hope that helps you guys. I hope that helps, man.
That's awesome.
It's very near and dear to me, man. And you know, this is what works for me. Every situation is different. If any of you listeners, you can go right to Instagram. I answer almost all my DMs. And as long as it's, you know, quick question, I get to them. But if you try to get me into a therapy session, then I'm going to refer you to somebody. But if you have additional questions on the habits and rituals and things that I do, just hit me on my DM and Instagram. It's Kelly.Siegel, spelled Siegel .71. Send me a DM and please follow me. Go over to YouTube. We got some great stuff on YouTube. Launching an app, a fitness app soon with all kinds of special content. So we get some big things coming out because we got to meet that $1 million goal. This year, we want to donate $150 to charity. The book sales have been great, so we got a good start, but we got to finish the year strong. So please, with the listeners, reach out and follow me and help us meet those goals. We really appreciate it. And you'll see at the end of the year, 2 children's charities and 1 narcotics, Families Against Narcotics. My biological father drank himself and overdosed to death. You'd think that I would have been smart enough right then to not be involved with drinking and drugs, but no, we stay on that freaking
cycle. Yeah, it's that cycle. No, for sure. And I totally related to what you said. You know, the drunk stepfather, I went through that too. And to top it off, I had my little sister that I had to protect. So it was like, you know, and then, I mean, I just saw shadows of him doing what he did to my mom, you know, physically and just, torture.
How's your little sister? Is she with you now? How's your little sister? Is she with you now?
Oh yeah. Yep. So she's doing good. She lives here in Nebraska too. So it's amazing. And guys, we're sharing all these experiences to tell you that you will be okay. Those of you who are going through something, have gone through something. The thing is, you cannot dwell in the past. And I feel like that's what we've been trying to tell you this whole episode. Like, do not become a victim. And guess what? All the shit that we're sharing with you, there's people that had it worse than us. Like,
and you're not alone.
That.
And you're not alone. We empathize with you. We get it. And like I say, there is somebody with far less than you doing better.
So true. Love it. And I want to ask you, was there any like story? Because I just keep hearing the whole Eminem thing. Like, do you remember any story or anything that you could share with us that you saw or that you were part of, or just a third person looking into something, like maybe a fight that he got into, or just anything that you saw?
Em was a very quiet guy. We have a home. My sister just told me, I have a sister that's 9 years older than me. She saved my life. We're really close. She pulled up a home video. We had those VHS recorders. She pulled up a home video. She goes, look who you see. And it was Eminem. And he was just,
that's awesome.
He was very quiet in high school. And we were only there for a year. And I was the party house because I moved out of my mother and stepfather's house and moved in with my sister. And they were still kids. And we were the party house, and everybody came over there to drink. And here we are, 16 years old, drinking, and oh man, just doing all the wrong things. So the only story was that he was very quiet, very kind, and just a good dude all around. And I sent him what's up from me through Dr. Dre, and Dr. Dre came back the next day. He's like, he said to say hi.
That's awesome.
And he's very quiet, very active in the Detroit community right now. And one day I probably should reach out and catch up with him, but I haven't even thought about it because we're so busy trying to raise money for charities. I haven't thought about it, but no real story other than we have home videos of us just being awesome. Stupid. That today would get my sister arrested because you can't drink. She was my sister's 9 years older than me, so she was 25. Yeah, we were 16. And most of my friends, M's is a year or two older than me because I was young. So he was a year or two older than me. And so he was probably 17 or 18. And, we were just having fun. We weren't bothering anybody, and just ourselves, we thought, at least.
Yeah. Love it. And
you know what we used to do? I do remember this about him. And if he's listening, I'm so sorry, but he probably killed me for this. You remember like the little whippet things? So I remember them doing whippets. They'd leave my house and there were the stupid whippet cans all over my house. I was like, what are you guys doing? It's funny. I never really dabbled in any of the drugs. I was a big drinker in high school. I liked beer. And it wasn't until later in life that I was like, let me try what's this? What's that? And dabbled. Never was a big druggie. I just loved me some alcohol. And I loved the taste of it. That's what people don't realize. They're like, oh, I hated the taste of it, but I love the buzz. I liked the taste of it, hated the buzz.
Or the next day.
Oh,
man.
Yeah, you're 35. Just if I don't know if you still drink, but 35. When I turned right around 40 is when it took 2 days to get back, and it's like this is just
seriously, yeah,
a waste of
losing time.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
I can use that time efficiently and make money and
focus
and help people.
So true. And I hate to wrap it up, man. This has been amazing, but I know you gotta go make $1 million for the world, brother. And anything you need behind that, man, I'm right here for you too. So definitely go grab his book, guys. I'm gonna do it myself, and I'm definitely gonna bring it up to my mastermind and all that good stuff. But I have a few questions to wrap up that I ask every guest at the end of the show. And the first one, I wrote The Power of Being Uncomfortable, which is, I feel like that's the title of your life.
I'm going to read that.
Love it. And I'll send you a copy. I would love to hear what is like the one time, because you hear it. I feel like the power of being uncomfortable, it's a pattern. And then once you catch on to it and you actually make yourself uncomfortable and get on uncomfortable situations, that's growth, right? So looking back, what was like one of the many times in your story that you got uncomfortable that paid off?
Oh man, it's an easy one. And I'm going to tell you, I just did a reel about this the other day. The scariest thing, the most uncomfortable change I made in my life was quitting drinking. I was scared to death, and nothing scares me. I wondered, who were my friends going to be? What was I going to do for fun? What was I going to do? How would I? Everything was an unknown. I was scared to death. And it gives me freaking flutters right now. But on the other side of that, I say, face your fears, live your dreams. On the other side of it, turns out I'm even more crazy sober because I'm not hurting people's feelings. And when you really heal yourself, you end up healing what you're trying to numb, to become the person. So the person I would be when I was drunk, the fun, happy-go-lucky guy is really who I am. But I got one more for you. When I really done the work, I'm a really calm influence. And the alcohol, the persona I thought everybody loved was crazy Kelly. So no, it makes me it was scary, man. It was scary. And I did not and overcome it. I want to tell you one more thing is my life is so comfortable now that I get uncomfortable being comfortable, because it's been chaos for 46 years. It's just been the last year where everything's in alignment. And I know that if something falls out of alignment, it's because it's the universe writing it for me, and it's not for me. And I just surrender and let it go and know that the next thing that's coming for me will be greater. And that is such a good feeling. Yeah. But no, quitting drinking, and I hear it all the time. What do you do for fun? And then people I'll be out with a bunch of drinkers because I still go to bars. I still go out. I was showing somebody, I still got bars in all my houses. I still boat. I take everybody out. I don't get triggered. I've healed myself. So people watch me and they go, how do you have so much fun not drinking? I said, my answer to you is, why do you need to drink to have fun?
Wow.
Because I can remember everybody's names. I make a genuine and authentic conversation and a connection, and I'm not hungover the next day, and I'm safe. So I took everybody out to St. Patrick's on my boat. I took 20 people on my boat in Fort Myers Beach. Had a blast. In the morning, everybody's hungover at my house, and they're like, and someone says, how do you feel? I said, I feel great. And they're like, what? How? And I go, I don't drink. And they're like, what? You were everywhere in that bar. Yeah, it's great, man. I love it. It's a cheat code in life, my brother. It's the cheat code. I will go have more fun than anybody, and I will make more connections, and I will do more than any drinker. Bar none.
Man. And my next question that I have for you, bro, is if there was a 3-step formula to success. So the $1 Million Hustle will be a book that I'm going to put together in the future. And it's going to be, these are the steps, right? These are the things that you need to do. And you mentioned a lot of the stuff that I believe in throughout the show, by the way. And so if there was a 3-step formula to success, habits, or whatever you want to call them, and if you do these 3 things, you will not fail. What are the 3 things?
Work out, meditate, and read. That easy.
Boom.
If you work out, move your body every day, consistently, you will build the mental toughness to show up every single day. And if you meditate, you will build calmness in your life to allow good into your life. And if you read, you will expand your mind and expand your point of view. 3 amazing things. So those are the 3 that I'd always and in that order.
Love it. Love it. And if you were to look back at your younger self, Kelly, what would be the piece of advice you would tell that 15-year-old kid or even 18-year-old kid?
Quit drinking earlier. Yeah, it chokes me up saying that, man. It's a cheat code, man. Billy, if you're drinking, don't. It's not worth it. It's a waste of time. And all your listeners, I'm telling you, even if you're just having 1 or 2, I'm cool with 1 or 2, but just have none. It's not worth it. I wish I would have. I have a regret, and they say you're not supposed to regret things because it all shaped you. But I have a regret. I knew I needed to quit drinking at 30. I started the book that I was in Copenhagen, Thailand, doing shots at 30. And I quit at 43. I want half of those 13 years back. Give me 6.5 years of that back. I'd be way ahead of this, and I could be helping more people. So yeah, I wish I would have quit drinking sooner. And really, if you really want to dig into it, I would have stopped with the freaking being angry at my parents, because that's really why I drank. Give up the chip off my shoulder. Address the chip on your shoulder sooner. I do everything backwards. So I had to quit drinking to start feeling my feelings. And then when I really felt my feelings, then I dug into them. So if you're masking, you're just kicking the can down the street.
Woo. And the last question that I have for you is, you wrote this book here. Is there any peek to what's next for another book that you have in mind, even maybe just in your head?
You know me well, huh? I already have a real short manuscript. I'm going to do a real quick book. I'm going to be turning 50 in a little over 2 years. So I'm going to do 50. I got it all then. 50 Kelly Siegel quotes. Siegelisms is what I call it.
I like that.
So I'm going to do quick and easy, just like a pamphlet release.
I know you got one. Can you drop one of them on us? Or even just your favorite quote that maybe you live by every day.
Second's the first loser.
Love it. Love it.
Hold on. I have them all written here. It's like, it's funny. I put in 50. Here's my favorite one. It's number 1. Impossible only describes the degree of difficulty. I say that all the time. So that's going to be the next book. I have, this the Heart and Life just released in February. So we're going to let it stew for about a year. We'll probably start that book sometime next year, release it really quick, because it's going to be a short and easy one. And then we're going to start on the 3rd book, which I think is going to be called Easier Than Life. And we'll talk about the follow-ups to this. Like what has happened since I implemented all of this, the after, and then really dig into the vibrational frequency and the higher power, which is funny. You brought up the higher power. I'm Jewish, but I do believe in God. And I struggled with that for a long time. I was just on a podcast where I said I'm God curious. Boy, it went from God curious to God believing really fast, because I was in LA recently, and I asked God, I said, God, if you're real, it was when the hurricane, the earthquake, and the typhoon were there. And I said, God, if you're real, make sure that I'm safe for all this and my flights are fine and my driving is fine. Because I had to go all over California. And I'm telling you, I was driving, there were car accidents, and everything went on without a hitch. And I was like, okay, I'm a believer now. I'm a believer.
And you're here
God
with us.
cleared out the path. And I'm telling you, I've been shot at, I've been stabbed, I've been beaten, and I'm still here. There's a reason. I joke because I'm Jewish, I call myself the chosen one. There's a reason I'm here, and I'm not going to waste it.
Let's go, man. Let's go. Love it, bro. And I just had to share this with you just because of your story and just your past and all that. So I have a 62-year-old that's in my mastermind. Super cool dude, man. Shout out to VCG. And it's funny because one of the things that he says all the time is, I used to hang with crooks. Now I hang with guys that write books. I
feel like, I love it. I love it.
And I just feel like that's just like the definition of like all the struggles you have gone to, brother, and you made it into success, which it's funny. It's an album that I'm dropping, man, from struggles to success. So the last question, man, if you could let everybody know, where can they find you? What's the easiest way to get a hold of you?
There's two things. The brand is called Harder Than Life. So if you search Harder Than Life, you'll get it on anything. YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, and iTunes. For the Harder Than Life podcast, we release a new one episode every single week. We've had some amazing guests coming on. I got John Gordon coming on. I've had I'm having Rob Malin, Tim Story. There's some just Jen Gottlieb. There's some great people. We'll get you on there. So that's weekly, and then we're going to have this portal coming out. But harderthanlife.com, and it'll point you in all the directions. My name's Kelly Siegel, spelled Kelly. Last name is Siegel. You Google me, you'll get either an IT company or a personal development guy. Don't dig too deep, because I did do a stint in jail from selling drugs in college. You live and learn. And I want to leave it with this too. Make sure don't hang up on me when we're done here. I want to grab your cell phone number, because I want to keep in touch, and we'll make sure that we share. If you want me to come in and do anything in your mastermind, I'll glad to give everybody a talk.
A Harder Than Life talk, man. Let's go.
Bam. Lambo. What we do.
Kelly, this has been so amazing, bro. Like I truly want to thank you, man. I'm like, it's people like you, bro, that just remind us that everything's gonna be okay and everything's gonna work out when you do what's right. So thank you so much, bro. And those of you who are listening, make sure you guys screenshot where you're listening and tag him, tag me, and we're gonna reshare it, baby. We're gonna reshare it so that way we could all get out there. And he's doing the heart sign. Those of you who are just listening, and literally like peace and love, man. I'll see you guys on the next one. Vamonos.
Used to be broke, now it's time to eat. Can't even pay your phone bill, talk is cheap. I done leveled up, now I'm out of your reach. I'm still going, still ain't reached my peak.
Gucci chocolates on my feet. Used to be broke, now it's time to eat. Gucci chocolates on my feet. Take a seat, you can't compete. Gucci chocolates on my feet. Used to be broke, now it's time to eat. Gucci chocolates on my feet. Take a seat, you can't compete. A big F.A. Billy the Don. Gucci, Versace, Louis Vuitton. I own shit that I can't pronounce. Used to shop at the swap meet with allowance. It's simple, but it ain't easy. If not in my chocolates, then I got my Yeezys.